to start the technical session. Over to you, Mr. Saurabh.
Yeah, thank you very much, our DG Sir Shri Arun Kumar Jha and our Director Dr. KP Sani for giving a welcome note. Now, before starting the technical session, I would like to give a brief introduction about NPC. This is the organogram in which President of NPC is the Minister of Commerce and Industry. Then Chairman is the Secretary of for Department of Industry and Internal Trade. And then the Director General, who is Shri Anup Kumar Jha right now. Thank you. This is the pan-India presence of NPC, in which headquarter of NPC is located in Delhi. Then there are 12 regional directors, and there is a Ambedkar Institute of Productivity in Chennai. Then these are the division which are in NPC. First is inspection division, environment management, energy management, agribusiness, economic services, human resource management, industrial engineering, and information technology. Activity profile of NPC: consultancy and research, training, productivity promotion, online training webinars, e-learning programs, publications like Productivity Journal and NPC eConnect. And NPC has facilitated Indian participation in about 100 APO programs annually. Now, inspection division. National Productivity Council has been granted accreditation conforming to ISO 17020-2012 by National Accreditation Board for Certification Bodies (NABCB) as Type A inspection body for undertaking inspection and audit work in the area of food safety audit and scientific storage of agricultural product. Inspection division has been set up to undertake the inspection and audit activities of the warehouses, cold storage based on the request received from Warehousing Development Regulatory Authority (WDRA) and Food Business Operator (FBOs), which includes dairy, food storage, warehouse, cold storage, and food transportation licensed by Food Safety and Standard Authority of India (FSSAI). Inspection division has a core team of specialists from the field of food technology, dairy technology, fisheries, oil technology, biotechnology, agriculture, agricultural engineering, veterinary sciences, biochemistry, microbiology, chemistry, hotel management, catering technology, etc. For further inquiries in this regard, you may kindly contact Dr. KP Sani, Director Inspection Division. This is the accreditation certificate given by the NABCB to the NPC as a Type A inspection body. This is the select clientele of NPC in government and public sector. And these are the clientele in private and international sector. And now about this speaker. This is Jay Khanduri. Mrs. Jay Khanduri is the associate professor in IGMP National and she is National Fast-Track Trainer of FSSAI India. Mrs. Khanduri is a food technologist with 16 years of experience in handling quality management systems like HACCP, GMP, GHP, ISO 9001, ISO 22000, FSSSC 22000, Lean Six Sigma training, etc. She has expertise in initiating and implementing of food safety and management systems and lead auditor trainings. She is fast-track trainer for various courses and PECB certified FSMS lead auditor trainer. And now I invite Mrs. Khanduri, Associate Professor, IGMPI, for starting the technical session. Before this, let me inform to all the participants that there will be a question answer session after a technical session is over. Therefore, whoever has any doubt or question can please write in the chat box. Thank you. Over to ma'am. Ma'am, you can share your PPT. Ma'am, we cannot hear you. Please unmute your mic. Ma'am,
Good afternoon
you are,
to all of
yeah,
you.
yeah, please.
Today in this session, we are going to discuss about the packaging and labeling regulations. So earlier in the FSSAI, the packaging and labeling regulations, there was only regulation for packaging and labeling, and now there are the FSSAI has divided these regulations into two parts. So Food Safety and Standard Packaging Regulations 2018 and Food Safety and Standards Labeling and Display Regulations 2019. And today we are going to discuss about the Food Safety and Standards Labeling and Display Regulations 2019. Now about the applicability of these standards. So these standards, they need to be like the FBOs, they need to comply these standards by 17th of November 2021. However, for chapter 3, so what is this chapter 3? Chapter 3 is regarding display of information in food service establishments. So these regulations can be complied with by 1st January 2022. So we are going to study all regulations, chapter 1, 2, and 3 in this session. So now first let's see what is food label. Okay, so food label, it mainly serves two purposes. It acts as an identity card of the product and it serves as a marketing tool. Okay, so now what is there in the identity card of the food? It offers complete information on characteristics, ingredients, and quality of food products useful for purchase choices. So its role for food producers is like it aids in selling the product and to inform the consumers, and consumers, it helps the consumers in making the informed choices while making the purchases. So now what are the mandatory contents? Okay, so the mandatory contents of the food label can be divided into 4 parts. Composition is there. From the contents from the label, we get to know what is the composition of the food. Composition means what is the name of the product and what is the list of ingredients. Okay, what is the recipe which has been followed. Then next is the traceability. So traceability, it helps in the label helps in the traceability of the food product. It helps in the product recall. So what are the requirements? What are the things which come under traceability, like the name of and address of the manufacturer should be there on the label, country of the origin should be there, weight of the product should be there, then the date marking like the batch number, date of manufacturing, best before date. The next is the quality and safety. Under quality and safety again comes the shelf life, best before date, date of manufacturing. Then the convenience. Under convenience comes the instructions for use and storage instructions. So let's start with the general requirements. What are the general requirements as per these regulations? So first is like every pre-packaged food shall be labeled with the information as required under these regulations. And when the food product is sold through e-commerce or any other direct selling means, then again, all these mandatory requirements should be there except batch number, lot number, best before use by date, expiry date, and date of manufacturing or packaging. So these regulations we will study in the coming slides. So next is the every pre-packaged food shall not be described or presented on any label or in any labeling in a manner that is false, misleading, or deceptive, or likely to create erroneous impression regarding its character in any respect. For example, suppose if on a packet, strawberry, if there is a flavor in the product, okay, for example, strawberry flavor in the product, then you cannot write on the label that this product contains strawberry, or you cannot put the pictures of the strawberries. So you need to define on the label that it contains strawberry flavor. So here you can see in the picture strawberry and yogurt flavor. Okay, but when you are putting the picture of strawberries, then there should be strawberry inside the product. Okay, similarly, you can see the Parle-G Gold biscuits. Okay, so here they have described on the label that this is only brand name or trademark and does not represent its true nature, and the product does not contain gold. So in this way, the product, it should not mislead the customer. And any information or pictorial device, written, printed, or graphic may be displayed on the label, provided it is not in conflict with the requirements of these regulations. And regarding the language of the labeling, so the label shall be English or Hindi in Devanagari script. You can also use other language, but the other language should be along with these languages. Okay, so Hindi or English is must, and then you can use any other language. So now you can see in the picture the honey nut product. It is not as per FSSAI regulations. It is not complying to these regulations because they are not using the Hindi or English language. But here you can see the second label, it is as per the FSSAI regulations. So Hindi they are using along with the Gujarati language. Okay. And again, next requirement is the label on the pre-packaged food shall be applied in such a manner that it will not become separated from the container. And the labels, the contents of the label, they should be clear. Okay. For example, they should be the labels, the content of the label or during return, handling, or storage. Okay, and where if the package is provided with the outside container or wrapper, and such container or wrapper is displayed for retail sale, then it should be transparent enough to enable the customer to see the labeling clearly. So these were the general requirements. Now there are the labeling requirements. Okay, now let's try to develop a label as per these labeling regulations. Okay, so labeling regulations, first is the name of the food. Okay, so first we need to know the name of the food. Okay, and again there is a requirement, name of the food should be on the front of the pack. And where food is specified for a special essential composition under FSSAI regulations, that establishes its identity and the name provided therein shall be used. Okay, the food, the name of the food should be the common name or usual name. Okay, or there can be the description which will tell the true nature of the food which is there in the product. So here you can see the pack Amul Masti Dahi. So Dahi is a common name. Okay, so in here there is a Haldiram's instant bhel. So here they have written what is there. It is a mixed spicy blend of chickpeas, lentils, peanuts, or puff rice. Okay, so your product should be, the name should be in such a way that it enable the customer to know that what is inside your pack. And if FSSAI people are there picking your product, they must they should be able to know that what is there in the pack. Okay, and then there can be additionally coined fanciful brand or trade name of the product. So next is first requirement was the name of the product. Now you have devised the name of the product. So second is list of ingredients. Okay, so except for single ingredient food, so there is exception. When there is a single ingredient food, then you need not to give the list of ingredients. Okay, because there is only one ingredient. Okay, so the list of ingredients, they are the name. Whenever you are writing the list of ingredients, so it shall contain a title ingredients or list of ingredients. Okay, and then you will start writing the name of the ingredients. Again, there is another requirement that the name of ingredients, they should be listed in descending order of their composition by weight or volume. And if you are using any food additive, then that food additive should be mentioned. Okay, and the specific name of the ingredient should be there. So you can use the class title for using the ingredients. For example, for any edible vegetable oil, you need to give the name specific edible vegetable oil such as mustard oil, groundnut oil, etc. Similarly, if you are using any kind of cheese, you need to write cheese in the list of ingredients. If you are using any product derived from the milk, you can use milk solids, class title milk solids. If you are using any part of fish or any fish that in your product, you can write fish for that ingredient. Okay, so in this way, you need to use the class title for your ingredients. So next requirement is where an ingredient is itself the product of two or more ingredients. For example, if your product is a compound ingredient, Okay, for example, suppose it is a this is Trixie cookie or it is a cassata ice cream. Okay, where there is a breadcrumb along with the ice cream. Okay, so this is a compound product. Okay, so there are two different ingredients. Okay, so now what is the requirement that you need to write the under the ingredients you need to write the sub ingredients of that ingredient also. Okay, so you need to declare all of the ingredients of the compound ingredients as if they were individual ingredients of the final food. Okay, and there is one exception: if the ingredient is less than 5%, then you need not to declare its name. But if it is additive, then it should be declared on the label. So here you can see. So here they are using the cookie and chocolate. Okay, so chocolate coating. So they have written the like composition of the compound coating. Okay, so compound coating contains sugar, edible vegetable oil, cocoa, mixed milk solids, and all. And then for the cookies also. So what are the ingredients in the cookies? Okay, so in this way you need to describe the compound ingredients. So next is water. Okay, so water as an ingredient. If you are adding water to your product, if it acts as an ingredient, then added water needs to be declared in the list of ingredient. Okay, and then if, for example, if water is used as a brine, syrup, broth, okay, and used in the compound food, so declared in the list of ingredients. So you can see here in the label, it is for the like slices, canned slices. So here you can see pineapple 60% water they have declared, sugar and acidity regulator is there. Okay, provided further that in case of dehydrated or condensed food, okay, which are intended to be reconstituted by addition of water, for example, skim milk powder, the ingredients in such reconstituted food shall be declared in descending order of weight or volume as the case may be. And then you need to write ingredients of the product when prepared in accordance with the directions on the label. Okay, so here you can see that if the product, okay, for example, here you can see the example of cookies. Okay, so ingredient list is flour, maida, sugar, butter, vanilla extract. Okay, but here we have not defined water. Okay, because water has not defined because it got dehydrated during the because it got evaporated during the baking process. Okay, but in case of reconstituted food, you need to write, okay, ingredients of the product when prepared in accordance with the directions on the label. So next is the ingoing percentage of ingredient by weight or volume as appropriate at the time of manufacture shall be disclosed. Okay, and it should be emphasized as present on the label through words or pictures or graphics. So if you are writing like if you are specifying any specific ingredient for any product, for example, fruit and nut cookies. Okay, so in that case, you need to write the percentage of fruit and nut in your ingredient list. Okay, for example, you can see this is the fruit and nut cookies. Okay, so here you can see in the ingredient list there is refined wheat flour, okay, sugar, edible vegetable oil, dry fruits. So they have written the percentage of dry fruits. Dry fruits is 9%, nuts 5%. Okay, because on the label it is shown fruit and nut cookies. Okay, so whenever you are like you are emphasizing any ingredient for your product, you need to give the percentage of those ingredients also. So next is, again, you need to write the drained net weight on along with the net weight. Okay, and these provisions are stipulated under these regulations. Pictorial representation of the serving suggestion can be made for the consumer information and the nutrients and the preparations like vitamins, minerals, amino nutrition declaration. Like if you are this product contains under the nutritional table. Next,
Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, actually your voice is breaking.
regarding
Your
food
voice is
additive. So
breaking.
whenever you are
Hello. Ma'am, your voice is breaking in between.
food additive, okay,
Yeah, it is
either
Ma'am, one thing we can do, can you switch off your camera so
hello, is it
no ma'am.
okay? Just give me 1 minute.
Yeah, please.
Is it okay now? Okay, so for okay. So is it still breaking? Is it still breaking, or
Yes, ma'am.
is it clear? The
Ma'am.
INS number should be written. Okay, so INS number of the food should be written for the food additives. Okay, either you need to write the INS number of the food additive, or you need to write the full name of the food additive. Okay, so and whenever you are adding any flavoring agent to your product, so you need to write the for the artificial flavoring agent, you need to write the contains added artificial flavoring agent along with the common name of the flavor. Okay, but when you are when you are adding natural flavors or nature identical flavors, then only the class name of the flavor shall be declared. So next, nutritional information labeling. Okay, so for nutritional information, per 100 gram or per 100 ml per single consumption pack of the product, and per serving and per serve percentage, the per contribution to the recommended dietary allowance. Okay, so you need to write the under the nutritional fact. Okay, so you need to write the nutrients. Along with the nutrients, you need to write the calories with which they are going to provide from that product, and with the calories, you need to write the daily values. Okay, so for colors also, you need to write the name. You need to declare which color you are adding to your product along with the INS number of the color. It is same as the flavor. Okay, so under nutritional information, you need to write the nutritional information per 100 gram. Okay, along with the dietary values. Sorry, along with the daily values. Okay, so recommended dietary allowance calculated on the basis of 2000 kilocalorie energy. Okay, so all the dietary values are calculated on the basis of 2000 kilocalories energy. Okay, so it is based on the this energy that is consumed, that is recommended for a person who is leading a sedentary lifestyle. Okay, and these values are taken from the ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, and NIM, National Institute of Nutrition India. Okay, so these values are like when a person is leading a sedentary lifestyle, he needs to consume 2000 kilocalorie of energy, and when he is consuming the 2000 kilocalories of energy, then how should be the how much amount of nutrients he should consume. Like 67 grams of total fat should be consumed, 22 grams of saturated fat, 2 grams of trans fat, and 50 grams of added sugar, and 2000 milligram of the sodium. Okay, so these are the requirements which are defined by the ICMR. Okay, so in the coming slide, we will see how to calculate these daily values. Okay, so what you need to write on your label, what are the mandatory requirements for nutrients? First, you need to write the energy value. It will be in the kilocalorie. Then you need to write the amount of protein in your product. Carbohydrates, under carbohydrates, you need to write the total sugars and added sugars. Then you need to write the total fat. Under total fats, you need to write the saturated fat, trans fat, cholesterol. Okay, and provided that the content of saturated fat and trans fat may be declared on the label as not more than. And again, if the fat, okay, if the saturated fat and trans fat, okay, they need not to be declared on the label if the fat content is not more than 0.5%. So next is the sodium. Sodium, again, you need to write the in the nutrition table. Yes, so 2000 kilocalorie, this is the energy calculation. This is based on the sedentary lifestyle. So these calorie requirements can vary depending on your lifestyle. Like if a person is he is working he is working hard, he is working in the construction in the construction sites, then he will require more energy, okay, than this. But this is the this energy value is calculated while taking in consideration the sedentary lifestyle of a person. Okay, so next is whenever numerical information on vitamins and minerals are declared, it shall be expressed in the metric units. Okay, and the nutritional information panel shall include the amount of food in gram or ml for reference beside the serving measure and the number of serving in the package. Again, this is the new requirement that you need to write this serving information, like how much is the serve size. Okay, for example, if serve size is, you need to write the serve size measure along with the grams. So here is the explanation. Serving or serve size means an amount of food customarily consumed per eating occasion or as defined on the label, which is expressed in metric unit. Okay, so here you can see it is expressed 227 grams. And additionally, it may also be given in common household measures like teaspoon, a tablespoon, cup that is appropriate to the food. Okay, so provided that the food claimed to be enriched with nutrients such as minerals, proteins, vitamins, amino acids, or enzymes shall be given, shall give the quantities of such added nutrients on the label. So whenever you are making any claim that your food is enriched in any mineral, that for that particular mineral, you need to write the content on the nutritional table, under the nutritional table. Now next is the calculation of energy. So how you are going to calculate the energy? For calculating the energy, these are the factors. For carbohydrates, the amount of carbohydrate present in your food multiplied by this 4 kilocalorie will indicate the energy provided by the carbohydrates. Okay. Then for the polyols, it is 2 kilocalorie per gram. For erythritol, it is 0 kilocalorie per gram. Protein 4 kilocalorie per gram. Fat 9 kilocalorie. Alcohol 7 kilocalorie. Organic acid is 3 kilocalorie per gram, dietary fiber 2 kilocalorie per gram. Okay, and whenever you are writing these nutrients on your label, okay, so these nutrients should be supported by the analysis reports. Okay, so you need to get your product analyzed for this, for all these nutrients. Okay. So, and then nutritional information may additionally be provided in the form of the barcode or global trait identification number. Now, next is how to calculate percent daily value. Okay, so you have all the daily values which are given by FSSAI under these regulations. You will find the values. Okay, and then you need to calculate how much amount of a particular nutrient is there in your product. Okay, for example, if in your product the fat is 2.5 grams. So how to calculate percent daily value? 2.5 divided by the 65 into 100. Okay, so in this way you will get the daily values for all the nutrients. So next is the exemptions. So following foods are exempted from mandatory nutritional labeling. Okay, so which are the foods where the nutritional labeling is not required? Unprocessed products that comprises single ingredient. Okay, processed products which the only processing they have been subject to is maturing. Okay, and that comprises single ingredient. Water intended for human consumption, including those where the only added ingredients are carbon dioxide, which is not changing the nutritional composition of the water. Okay, a herb or spice mixture, salt and salt substitute, tabletop sweeteners, coffee extracts, herbal and fruit infusions, tea, decaffeinated tea, fermented vinegars, flavoring and food additives, okay, which are not source of nutrients, chewing gum, alcoholic beverages, and food for special dietary uses. Okay, for these health supplement, nutraceutical, food for special dietary use, food for special medical purpose, functional food, and novel regulations 2016 should be followed. So next is the labeling requirements for fat. Okay, like if you are adding any type of fat like edible oil, interesterified vegetable fat, okay, or mixed fat, vegetable fat spread to the as an ingredient into your product, then you need to declare on your label the quantity of trans fat content and saturated fat on the label. Okay, and if you are producing these products, for example, you are producing or you are doing the packaging of the edible oils, interesterified fat, then along with the trans fat content and saturated fat content, you also need to declare the monounsaturated fatty acid, polyunsaturated fatty acid, omega-3 fatty acids, and omega-6 fatty acid content on the label. Okay, and then next they have also in new regulations they have also described the tolerance limit, like the tolerance of maximum minus 10% of the value for that nutrient declared on the label at any point in time within the declared shelf life of the product should be there. So next is now we know how to write the nutritional information on the product. Now next is the veg non-veg logo. Okay, so non-veg logo, for non-veg logo, every package of the non-vegetarian food containing ingredients including food additives, processing aids of animal origin shall bear a declaration to this effect made by a symbol and color code. Okay, so this is how, if there is you need to make a list of all your ingredients, okay, and then you need to check whether there is any animal origin product or not. Okay, for example, suppose if you are making a cheese where you are using the rennet of animal origin, then again you need to put this non-veg logo. If you are using gelatin in the ice cream, then again you need to put this non-veg logo. Okay, so you need to check your ingredients also. And then this, it is brown in color. Okay, and provided where any article of food contains egg only as non-vegetarian ingredient, the manufacturer or packer or seller may give declaration to this effect in addition to the said symbol. So earlier this was a circle surrounded by a square, and now it has been changed to the triangle. Okay, and it is to help the color blind people. So next is the veg logo. Every package of the vegetarian food containing ingredients including food additives, processing aids of plant origin shall bear a declaration to this effect by a symbol and color code. So the symbol should be green square, and then the green circle within the square. Now what is the size? Okay, so here you can see you need to first calculate the principal display area, panel area, principal display panel area, and then you can see like what should be the size of your square and the inside square and inside circle or triangle. So next is the declaration, how to declare veg and non-veg logo. So veg and non-veg logo needs to be declared on pamphlets, leaflets, advertisements in any media. And again, it should be displayed close in proximity to the name or brand name of the product. And again, it should be displayed on the front of the bag. Okay, and this veg and non-veg logo, it is not required in mineral water, packaged drinking water, carbonated water, alcoholic beverages, liquid milk, milk powders, and honey. So there are some exemptions. So next is the declaration of name and complete address. Okay, so next is you need to write the name and complete address of the manufacturer, and again the address shall be preceded by the qualifying words manufactured by, or marketed by, or manufactured and marketed by, or packed and marketed by. If it is bottled, if there are beverages, alcoholic beverages, bottled by, blended and bottled by, okay, distilled and bottled by. So before the address you need to write these words. Okay, And when an article of the food imported into the India, then again you need to write the complete address of the importer in India. And if the product is imported to India, then it is packaged in India, then you need to write the name and complete address of importer and the premises of the packing or bottling in India. Next is the FSSAI logo and license number. So the FSSAI logo and license number under the Act shall be displayed on the label of the food package in the contrast color to the background. Okay, and this should be mentioned along with the manufacturer's address. Okay, and again the this number of the FSSAI logo and license number of the brand owner shall be displayed on the label. In addition, the license number of the manufacturer, marketer, or packer or bottle, as the case may be, if different from the brand owner. So it should be displayed on the label. In case of imported food products, then the FSSAI logo along with the license number and address or name and address of the importer should be displayed. And again, there is another requirement for this FSSAI license number. It should be displayed on all its premises where food is stored, processed, distributed, or sold. Okay, so if you have registration number, then you need to display the registration number or the license number. Okay, and if the food is fortified or it is organic food, then the organic food and fortified food logo should be along with the license number. So next is the net quantity, retail sale price, and customer care details. Okay, so for these requirements, okay, so these requirements are governed by Legal Metrology Act 2009. Okay, so the size and the manner of the declarations, it will be as per the Legal Metrology Act 2009, 1 of 2010. And next is the lot, code, and batch identification. So you need to declare the batch number, lot number, or code number on the label. So this is the most important from traceability point of view. So next is the date marking. Okay, so date of manufacture or packaging and expiry or use by shall be declared on the label. Okay, so you can also use the best before date along with the expiry or use by date. Okay, so best before date, it is an optional or it is a additional information, because best before date, it is mainly the quality marking. Okay, so because your product is best before this date in terms of its quality. Okay, so you need to write the best before date along with the expiry date and use by date. And the manner of the declaration is you need to write the day, month, and year when the products have short shelf life, that is up to 3 months. Okay, and when this product has shelf life more than the 3 months, then you can use the month and year. Okay, and while writing the month, so month shall be indicated by the capital letters, and abbreviations like 3 letters of the months may be used, at least first 3 letters. Okay, and in addition to the expiry or use by, any special conditions for the storage of food shall be declared on the label if the validity of the date depends thereon. If the storage conditions after opening the pack may also be specified. For example, refrigerate the container after opening. Okay, because the refrigeration process, it is impacting the shelf life of the product. So next are the exemptions. Okay, so notwithstanding anything contained in this regulation, an indication of the expiry shall not be required. Okay, so you need not to write the expiry date on the fresh fruits, vegetables, including potatoes which have not been peeled, cut, or similarly treated, all types of wine which are self-preserved products, alcoholic beverages, vinegar, sugar boiled confectionery, food grade salt, solid sugars, chewing gum, and bubble gum. Okay, and the date of manufacture or packaging and expire by or use by shall be grouped together and given at the one place. Okay, if it is there is an online printing, then it should be grouped together at one place, and all the printed information should be given at the another place, or it can be given along with this information also. Now next, for the meals which are served in airlines, railways, mobile catering units, date and time of manufacture should be mentioned on the packages. So next is the country of origin of imported foods. The country of origin of food shall be declared on the label for imported foods. Okay. And then if it is, and if it undergoes the processing in the second country, which changes its nature, then the country of origin of that country should be written. Okay. And the instructions for use including reconstitution where applicable shall be included on the label to ensure proper utilization of food, or where such food requires directions, for example, refrigerate after opening. Okay. So instructions for use can be given in pictorial form also. How to use the product. So next is the declaration regarding food allergen. Okay, so this is again a new requirement. So the following foods or ingredients which are known to cause allergy shall be declared separately. Okay, so now what are those ingredients? Cereals containing gluten, crustaceans and their products, milk and milk products. So they need to be declared as milk. Okay, then the egg and egg products need to be declared as egg, fish and fish products, peanuts and tree nuts, soybean and their products, and sulfites in concentration of 10 milligram per kg. Okay, so these are the commonly found allergens which needs to be declared on the label. Okay, so contains name of the allergy causing ingredients. For example, contains milk. Okay, contains fish, contains egg. Okay, so you need to write the ingredient which can cause allergy. For example, contains wheat, egg, milk. Okay, so declaration is of two types. One is the contains, and second is may contain. Okay, so provided that in case of presence of ingredients due to cross contamination which are known to cause allergy may be declared separately as may contain. Okay, for example, may contain pecans. Okay, so name of the allergy causing ingredients you will write. Okay, so this is may contain is like, it is like a precautionary statement that if you think that there can be cases of cross contamination in your organization, then you need to write this statement may contain. Okay, and provided further that this declaration is not required in case of oils derived from these ingredients. Raw agriculture commodities are exempted from the allergen labeling requirements. So next is the food not suitable for human consumption. Okay, so every package of the food material sold in retail but which is not meant for human consumption, for example, puja water, ghee for diya, oil for puja, etc., shall bear a declaration to this effect as a symbol stipulated below. Okay, so there should be a square, okay, and cross inside the square. Now the size of the square, it will be same as the veg and non-veg guidelines. Okay, so it will depend on the area of your pack. Okay, so after calculating the PDP area, principal display panel area, then you will get to know like how much, what should be the dimensions of the square. So now you know all the requirements. Okay, you know the name of your product now, how to write the name of the product, list of ingredients you have collected. Okay, you know the veg and non-veg status of your product. Okay, you know the nutritional panel, how to declare the nutritional panel. You know the batch number, lot number, date marking, you know, best before date and date of manufacturing of your product or packaging of your product. Okay, so you know about the allergen. Okay, allergen requirements which needs to be displayed on your product. Okay, now you have gathered all the information of your product. Okay, now next step is now where to put these all informations. Okay, so all this information should be put on PDP panel, principal display panel. Okay, now what is the principal display panel? So principal display panel is defined as that part of the label or package that is most likely to be displayed, presented, shown, or examined under normal or customary conditions of display for retail sale. Okay, so this is the principal display panel. Now, how to calculate the area of the principal display panel? Okay, so now the principal display panel, the information required under these regulations shall be given on principal display panel of the package or container, and such information may be given in the following manner. So what is the manner in which the information needs to be given? all information should be grouped together and given at one place. And the pre-printed information or the pre-printed information, printed information can be grouped together at one place, and the online information, for example, batch number, best before date, date of manufacturing, so which you are doing the online printing, that can be given on the at the another place. Okay, so this is how the principal display panel, all the information in the principal display panel should be arranged. So next is the area of principal display panel. Okay, so in case of rectangular package, okay, if your package is rectangular in shape, 40% of the product of the height and width of the panel of such package having the largest area, okay, it should be calculated. And in case of cylindrical, then again the 40% of product of height and average of the circumference. And in case of the package of any other shape, 20% of the total surface area. Okay, and if your package is having a capacity of 10 cubic centimeters, okay, if it is 10 cubic centimeters, then you can put a card or tape. Okay, you can affix a card or tape firmly to the package, in which where all the information will be given. Okay, now how to calculate the area for rectangular containers? 40% of the height times the width. Okay, like 7 into 0.4. Okay, so it will be your area. So for cylindrical or nearly cylindrical containers, 40% of height times the circumference, 0.4 into height into the circumference. Okay, so height, you can see how to measure the height up to the collar or up to the shoulder, okay, of the bottle, where the slope starts. So this is your principal display panel. So here you can see principal display panel up to the area 100 centimeters square. What should be the height of the numeral? So this is not the font size in the computer. This is the height in mm. Okay. And now regarding the width, width should be 1/3 of its height except letter 1 and I. Okay. So provided that the size of numeral and letters required for declaration of net weight, retail sale price, date of expiry, best before. Okay. For these declarations, you need to see the Legal Metrology Act. Okay, so there also you will see a table which will let you know, depending on the area of the display panel, how much should be the height of the numerals and the letters which are used for using the net weight, retail sale price, and date of expiry and best before date. So next are the mandatory declarations. Okay, so whenever packaged, so now your label is ready. Okay, and now if there are some if you are adding some products which fall under schedule 4, okay, sorry, schedule 2, which fall under schedule 2, so those needs to be stated on the label. Okay, and they should be prominently displayed on the label, and the size of the numerals and letters for the declaration, it shall not be less than 3 mm based on the letter I. Okay, so now what is the schedule 2? Okay, for example, if your product contains caffeine, okay, so you need to write contains caffeine. Okay, if your product contains monosodium glutamate, so you need to write on your product this package, okay, or this product contains added monosodium glutamate, not recommended for infants below 12 months and pregnant women. Okay, and similarly, like if your product contains supari, so you need to write chewing of supari is injurious to health. Okay, so these are the mandatory declarations which are given under schedule 2. Okay, so you need to check the list of your ingredients, whether you are adding these ingredients to your product or not. If you are adding these ingredients to your product, you need to declare this on your product. Okay, so next is the exemptions from labeling requirements. Okay, so when the surface area of the package is not more than 100 centimeters square, the label of such package shall be exempted from the requirements. Okay, following requirements like list of ingredients, lot number, batch number, code number, nutritional information, labeling of irradiated products, declaration of food product, license number, logo, name. complete address of the importer and instructions for use, but this information should be given on the multi-unit package. Okay. So now what are the information which are required on your product then? So you need to write the name of your product, food, veg, non-veg logo is required, net quantity, okay, MRP, okay. So these things are required, okay, and allergen declaration. So these things you need to put on your product, and rest all things they need to be given on the multi-unit package, okay. So your outer package of your like on the secondary package you can say, okay. So in case of liquid products marketed in bottles, if such bottle is intended to be reused for refilling, the requirement of list of ingredients shall be exempted, okay. But the nutritional information, it shall be given on the label. And in case of the food with shelf life of not more than 7 days, if the shelf life is less than 7 days, then date of manufacturing is not required, okay. But expiry and use by date needs to be mentioned on the label. Next is in case of prepared food. Okay, so in case of the prepared foods served for immediate consumption, such as in hotels or by food service vendors or caterers or halwais or hospitals or at religious gatherings, or food served in airline, railways, passenger vehicles, or any mobile unit shall accompany or display the minimum information. So what is this information? First is the specific declarations, okay, prescribed under sub-regulations 1.1. So these are again specified in under schedule 2. Okay, so now what are these sub-regulations? So like 1.1 is regarding polyols, then polydextrose, caffeine, artificial sweetener, and plant stanol esters. If you are adding to your product, you need to declare on the label, and the manner of the declaration will be as per schedule 2. Okay, then again the information relating to the allergens should be given. Okay, and then the logo for veg and non-veg. Okay, this needs to be given on the label. Provided that in case of food served through vending machine, okay, if the food is served through the vending machine, the labeling requirement, okay, then you need to give the nutrition table, okay, nutritional information, okay, then it should be then nutritional information, and along with these all informations, the schedule 2 schedule 2 regulations, information related to allergen, veg and non-veg logo. So these need to be given either on the vending machine, okay, so on the outside of the vending machine, or through poster, leaflet, or on the container. Okay, so you need to give all these informations. So next is the following labeling requirement are exempted if they are provided in a barcode global trait identification number. Okay, so if you are providing these informations through the barcode, then these information need not to be given on the label. So what are these information? Address of the brand owner, whether or not he himself is a manufacturer, marketer, packer, or bottle, as the case may be. License number of the manufacturer, or marketer, or packer, or bottler. And for assorted packs, okay, shelf life declared on assorted pack should be that of the product that having the earliest shelf life, okay, declared among us the different pre-packaged food packed inside. Okay, so next is the display of information in food service establishments. Okay, so what are the display regulations which are required in food service establishments? Okay, first is in the food service establishments, calorific value needs to be given. Okay, so it needs to be given against the food items displayed on the menu cards or boards or booklets, and the reference information of calorie requirement should also be displayed clearly and prominently. Again, they have also, FSSAI has also expressed the tolerance here. Okay, a tolerance for the it is 25% tolerance they have given for nutritional information. Okay, and on the menu card also you need to write a 2000 calorie daily diet is used as the basis for general nutrition advice. However, individual calorie needs may vary. Okay, so so here this is the sample. Okay, so you can display calories in this way. Okay, so veg and non-veg logo, list of ingredients. Okay, so food service establishment shall also mention the information below against the food items displayed on the menu cards or boards or booklets as follow: information relating to allergens. Okay, again, these 8 commonly found allergens, they should be described if they are present in the food, along with the nutritional values and list of ingredients. Then there should be logo. Okay, and these provisions shall not be applicable to the following, namely event caterers and food service premises that operate for less than 60 days in a calendar. So there is an exemption for them. Self-serve condiments that are free of charge and not listed on the menu, and special order items or modified meals and menu items as per request by the customer. Okay. Then the food service establishment, they are also required to provide the nutritional information. Okay. And then the special information as per schedule 2. So this we have already discussed. Okay. And then deviation of 25% can be there in case of the nutritional information declaration. So next is the labeling requirements for non-retail containers, okay, which are not for sale. So to the customer, okay. So the every packaged food meant for non-retail sale shall provide the following mandatory information either on the container or pasted on the label thereof. So first is the name of the food should be there, net quantity should be there, FSSAI logo and license number should be there, date marking, lot number, name and address of manufacturer or packer should be there. And the following information, if not provided on the label, shall be provided in the accompanying documents. Okay, so you can give this information maybe along with the specifications of the product. So here you will be covering the rest of the requirements like the list of ingredients, declaration regarding veg and non-veg logo, nutritional information, and then every package meant for retail sale. So there should be the statement, not for retail sale. So this was all about labeling and display requirements as per new regulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for such an informative session. Without wasting time, we shall proceed towards the question answer session because there is a long list of questions there. Shall we start the session, question answer session?
Yes, yes. Yes, please.
Yeah, all the questions are visible in ma'am chat box.
Okay.
You can read out there.
Okay, okay, no problem. So there was a question: food parcels from hotels. What are the mandatory mentions needed on the label? So these requirements we have already discussed. Okay, the requirements in the catering, requirements for the